Welcome everyone to the Wednesday, March 27th, 2024 meeting of the Lopatcong Township Planning Board. Please join me for a moment of silence, followed by the oath of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Ledger and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building.
I'll call the roll. Members Coyle, Hartman, Melendez, Polito.
Here.
McCoy. George.
Here.
Vice Chairwoman DeLeo.
Here.
Chairman Sampson.
Here.
Alternate Brian Weeks.
Okay.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Okay, so the first order of business here. Did everybody receive the minutes in the email?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything? No? Okay, could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Second?
I'll roll call that. Members Polito.
Yes.
Coy. Yes. George.
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman DeLeo.
Yes.
Chairman Sampson.
Yes. Okay, so on to the next order of business. Ordinance number 24-05. An ordinance to vacate the paper street known as Block 95, Lot 18.01 to become part of adjacent lots. This matter has been read on first reading at the February 7th, 2024 council meeting and is referred for review and recommendation before second reading and adoption. Could you explain to us what a paper street is and what this is?
Sure, of course. Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, so this lot is a lot that was a former it is an existing paper street that was established in the 1960s when this area of Strikers Road was developed. This applicant was before the Zoning Board of Adjustment earlier this month with an application. And what I'm referring to is the individual, the homeowner that purchased this property is the one that made the request to vacate the paper street to the Township Council. And that was
In February.
They made the request in February, right? So they were before the Zoning Board of Adjustment this month. It was Frederick and Kimberly Peony. They had made the request, and it was a recommendation actually by the planner as part of the planning review. Mr. Ritter had prepared a report as part of their variance application before the Zoning Board of Adjustment to explore the possibility of vacating that paper street. The paper street was a right-of-way that was established in the 60s with the potential of extending that area of the township into the Architect's Golf Course property. Architect's Golf Course was never developed into residential homes, so the street was never extended. There was a curb return installed, 2 curb returns installed at that location, but as we sort of informally were discussing it, when you drive by there, this home has a loop driveway, 2 entrances onto Strikers, and it just looks like part of their driveway. So, I think Mr. Peony at the Zoning Board of Adjustment mentioned, I think the home was built in 1962 or 1965, somewhere around that time, and that driveway's been there that entire time. So the recommendation was made, the request was made to the town council. The town council considered it and asked that our office, myself and Paul Sturbins prepared an ordinance. I prepared the ordinance at Paul's direction. And this indicates, the map that was filed, the ordinance, I don't know if you have a copy of the ordinance, but the ordinance indicates that essentially the map that was filed by the applicant, the plot plan prepared by French and Perillo, referencing that, and that paper street that's listed as block 95, 1801, now are formerly Lopatcong Township. So the intention is, and it seems the council had agreed to sort of split that lot in half, bifurcate that lot. Half goes to lot, the existing lots, let's see, I had the tax map here. Existing lot 19 and existing lot 18 will each get half of that. The benefit of that, and it's also indicated in Mr. Ritter's letter that I reviewed before the meeting this evening, to the board, to the planning board, dated March 22nd of 2024, that basically allowing this vacation and sort of distribution of those lands to the adjoining property owners actually assists this homeowner. These are undersized lots in the zone. The lot is in a 2-acre zone, and this is a 2/3 of an acre lot, 0.67 acres. So it sort of reduces the setback variance condition, improves the lot coverage currently, the lot with no, real modifications to anything else, improves the lot coverage issue because it adds some additional vacant land to the homeowner that's developing, redeveloping this home that was overgrown that everyone sort of mentioned before the meeting tonight. No one ever knew there was a house there because it was sort of abandoned for 20-some years. So putting it back into the useful into use and having, someone live there is obviously a benefit. And George is supportive, and we certainly were supportive as well, speaking to the council of the vacation. There was an agreement of the homeowner, and he understands that there's an existing drainage pipe that drains an inlet from Stryker's Road into the rear of the property towards the golf course property. It's always been that way, and that's going to remain. He's not going to change that or reconfigure that. That's just an existing feature of the lot. And in the ordinance, the township retains rights to maintain, and so we're not burdening him with that. If there's an issue with that drainage pipe, the township would be responsible for maintaining that drainage pipe since it is a township utility facility. So hopefully that gives you a good summary. If you have any questions, you can let me know.
Thank you. Does everybody understand that? Do you have any questions or anything?
I'm just curious, the paper street, is that essentially just going to be converted to a right-of-way then also? Will we maintain that same width for the right-of-way for the DPW, or is it going to be a smaller right-of-way?
It will essentially just be centered on that pipe, that drainage pipe. And you don't have, I'm speaking to a plan here, you don't have the plan, but the pipe is identified, and maybe it's difficult to see, but you can see this heavy dotted line that reflects that 12-inch
Okay.
CMP would be corrugated metal, maybe it's some corrugated metal pipe, but it discharges into a concrete swale which runs off to the back of the property. So that's going to be maintained in its current configuration, but generally it will become private property.
So if we don't have a right-of-way that's wide enough for the DPW to traverse, then doesn't that mean that they have to, if they need to get to that, they have to get homeowner approval to cross their property first?
Yeah, it's a simple hold harmless agreement or something.
Yeah, it'd be a maintenance.
It just seems like it would be logical to have a wider right-of-way so that the DPW doesn't have to go through the hold harmless part, because then
We do it all the time.
Okay.
Right. Well, yeah, certainly it's, I think it's 50 feet.
Well, 50 feet is wide enough.
No, I'm trying to see the width.
Okay.
Right. No, of course. I believe the width of the existing, I don't have my scale here. Do I? Maybe. This drawing's not to scale, so.
It's okay. You don't have to be precise.
No, certainly. But yeah, it would, as Beth indicated, if there's an issue there, the homeowner would have to give permission for us to go onto the property outside of the envelope of that pipe, but the intention would be to replace that pipe and maintain that drainage configuration. So, yeah, we wouldn't want to limit ourselves to just the pipe itself or like 2 feet on either end of the pipe, because that would be too difficult to get machinery and equipment in there. Basically we'd be coming in on their driveway and doing whatever work we have to do there and restoring it certainly back to whatever condition it's in before it was damaged or collapsed or whatever might happen in the future with that pipe, so. But certainly the rights are still maintained.
Okay.
We're just not drawing, a line in space to say like, this is where we're allowed to go and this is where we're not allowed to go.
Okay.
We're just saying any existing facility that we're able to get in there and maintain it.
Okay.
A hold harmless would come part of the easement, wouldn't it?
So if something occurs, we would draw up a hold harmless agreement to allow the Department of Public Works to go onto the property, and it's not just there, it's,
Okay.
It's if there is an occurrence, so it's just not, doesn't run with that approval.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so the action on this is just gonna be a recommendation. It's just gonna be a recommendation for the council. So that being said, does somebody want to make that motion for the recommendation?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Members Polito,
Abstain.
Coy,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman DeLeo,
Yes.
Chairman Sampson.
Yes. Okay. Last order of business, ordinance number 24-07. An ordinance to amend Chapter 8 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Lopatcong, Chapter 243, zoning and land use, Article 8, general regulations. Here it comes now.
Let the record reflect that member Melendez arrived at 7:13.
Maybe?
Yes, we started at 7.
Oh.
Here's your seat.
Have a new mic.
I even got you a special one.
Please.
Just in time for your ordinance.
All right, I'll start over with this since Andrew's here. So, Andrew, we got through the first one there with the paper street. We're on the second one that, has to do with you. Ordinance number 24-07. An ordinance to amend Chapter 8 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Lopatcong, Chapter 243, zoning and land use, Article 8, general regulations, Sections 60, A1 to permit non-intensifying residential expansion, introduced at the March 26th council meeting, referred for review and recommendation before second reading and adoption. Does anybody have anything they want to say about this before we vote on it? No? So the action on this is just another recommendation as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that being said, does somebody want to make that motion for the recommendation?
Motion.
Second. Thank you, Nita. All right, I'll make the roll call here. Members Melendez,
Yes.
Polito,
Yes.
Coy,
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman DeLeo,
Yes.
and Chairman Sampson.
Yes. All right, that's it. Would somebody, the adjournment,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Maybe, Robin?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
I feel like that was.
If you guys,
Second.
Madam, we're adjourned, right, so we're all on the record, she's stopping just to hear me out, those issues that I discussed with Mr. Woods.